Ryan is heading to the Australian Open in Sydney, which begins next week. Before then, though, he's decided to stop in and have a chat with us. Ryan Fox on the couch at Sky Sport News. Thanks so much for coming in, man.
Morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
What's it like to be home?
It's nice. Been out fishing the last few days, which enjoying the Kiwi weather. It's been a few months since I've been out and catching up with friends and family and just having a bit of a break.
Brilliant. Now, in 2019, you had a couple of main goals, President's Cup, European Tour final. Unfortunately, you missed out on both of those goals. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, look, I'm disappointed. I mean, the President's Cup was always going to be a little bit of a long shot. I mean, you've got to pretty much be on the PGA Tour to have a really good chance. You've got to play really well to play your way in from outside of that. And I would have been relying on a captain's pick from Ernie, and I obviously didn't play very well through the middle of the year. And yeah, missing out on the finals in Dubai hurt a little bit. It's been a funny year. I've ticked off a couple of goals as well to get my first win on tour, my best result in a major. I still played 3 majors at WGC, so in that regard there was a lot of good stuff, but there was some ugly stuff in the middle as well.
So on that ugly stuff in the middle, can you talk to us what you think it is that was going wrong for you there?
It was a little bit of everything, to be honest. I got married in March, had a honeymoon, which was great, and I've always been pretty good coming back from a break. And I went back, had a couple of weeks here with Marcus before going back to the UK, and first event back I was a little rusty, missed the cut, didn't feel too bad, and turned up at Bethpage Black in New York for the USPGA Championship, and I got my ass kicked basically, and that rocked me a lot. And technically I wasn't in a good place, and then mentally I sort of went deep down the rabbit hole there for a while and struggled to get it back. And it took a lot of work towards the back end of the year, changing a couple of things technically, and it took a little bit for that confidence to come back. And I started to play a lot better at the back end of the year. I just didn't really put it all together. It was always something, my short game or the putter wasn't working, but it was at least some consistent results rather than some really good ones.
Because we all know that golf is very much a mental game, and often you're competing against yourself as much as you are competing against the others out there on the field. Who do you talk to about this, and how do you get through those sort of mental battles? I
talked to a lot of people through the middle of the year. I mean, I was lucky enough through Dad to be able to have a couple of chats with Steve Henson, and I think they helped. Had a chat to John Kerwin again through Dad, and I've been working with a sports psych in the UK, a guy called Carl Morris, and it was, I think at one point I thought maybe there was too much going on in that regard, and tried to just simplify things, and in the end it was actually more a technical thing. I couldn't do what I wanted golf swing wise, and get on the golf course and could hit some really funny shots out of nowhere, and as soon as I kind of tidied that up, the rest of it kind of fell into place.
We'll talk a little bit more about some of your results shortly, but I just want to get your, pick on the President's Cup, because on paper it looks like the internationals don't really have a chance, but do you think that home advantage counts for anything here with some of the Australians in the side? Yeah,
it does. I mean, Royal Melbourne's a very difficult golf course to play, and a lot of those Aussie guys, especially Adam Scott, Jason Day, will have played there a lot, and it does, local knowledge around there does mean a lot. Ernie's got a great record around there, so I'm sure he will be able to help the guys and figure out how to play the golf course. And I think it's a pretty good side for the international team. They're young, they don't have a lot of scar tissue. A lot of those guys, it's been the same guys the last few years, bar a couple, and they've been pretty soundly beaten in the last 5 or 6 President's Cups. So maybe having some new blood, some rookies in the team will actually help, and it'll get them up for it. And the US team going to be pretty hard to beat, but you've seen the last few Ryder Cups, they've been very beatable with basically a very similar team. So it'd be nice for the international side to get up.
Looking at your own form now, so 59th in the European Tour ladder, but we understand you're leading the Australasian Tour Order of Merit. Can you just talk to us about what that all means?
Yeah, so obviously Europe's done for me for the year, but it starts up this week in South Africa, I think, in Leopard Creek. But the Aussie Tour Order of Merit runs for the calendar year, so I'm leading that through the result in Perth earlier this year, and I've got 2 events left to play: the Aussie Open next week, and then the Aussie PGA, which is the week before Christmas. And it's pretty big goal to win that. It's obviously being in a good position so early in the year. You get a lot of benefits out of winning it as well. You get a couple of WGCs in Mexico and China next year, and then also get to qualify for the Open as well. So that's pretty close to home for me in the UK. So it'd be nice to get another start in that.
You mentioned the Aussie Open, also the Australian PGA. That's closing in on Christmas, isn't it? It's like a couple of days before Christmas. So how are you going to take some time off? How are you going to relax and celebrate?
Yeah, it's
friends and family, Ryan.
Yeah, look, it's a tough schedule. I mean, I think they changed. The Aussie PGA was originally supposed to be this week, and they changed the date to try to fit it in better with the President's Cup and get a few more people to play, which makes sense for them. It's going to be a little frustrating, playing up until the 22nd of December. And, normally the last couple of years I've had most of December off, which has been nice. But this year it looks like we're only going to have a couple of week break before I go away again on the 12th of January for a month.
Who'd be a golfer, eh?
I would.
Well, yeah, we all know you would, Kate.
You rattled off some of your highlights at the start of this chat. As you said, 16th at the British Open, or tied for 16th, and then you had that record-breaking, I think it was back 9 at Royal Portrush. You obviously got married. What for you has been the highlight of 2019? That's not a trick question either.
I reckon it is a trick question. Be very careful, mate. Tread lightly.
My wife's watching this, so I have to say our wedding and honeymoon. But it's been a great year, personally for me. Some of the golf has been a little average, but that's professional sport. You've got your ups and downs, and unfortunately in golf you've got nowhere to hide. So when you play bad, you generally miss cuts. I guess if you're a rugby player, if you have a couple of bad games, a team can still win and you might get away with it. But for us, if you play bad, it shows in the scores, and I had a lot of that in the middle of the year. But I guess winning in Perth was a massive thing for me this year. That would probably be the highlight of the golfing side. It's been a goal to win a top event in Aussie since I basically got on the Aussie Tour, I think 8 years ago now, and obviously a goal to win a European Tour event as well, and to tick both of them off at the same time. And it was certainly nice after coming close a couple of times the last few years.
So what does 2020 hold in store for Ryan Fox? Is the New Zealand Open available to you?
Yep, New Zealand Open's on the schedule, so hopefully if I win this Aussie Order of Merit, I'll be in Mexico the week before, so the preparation might be limited again as it was this year. But I think Mike Hendry showed 4 or 5 years ago that you can, maybe not even that long, that you can come back from Mexico and still win a New Zealand Open. So that's pretty high up my list. I'd love to do that by the end of my career, and it's obviously there's 156 other guys trying to do the same thing. So it'll be a tough one, but I'm looking forward to that. It's always one of the best events of the year. I love going down to Queenstown. There's a couple of great golf courses down there, and I think they've opened it up this year. There should be no tickets. It's free entry, so it should be some great crowds down there. It'll be good fun.